Revealed, how a heartless billionaire's bet on a street girl turned into an inspiring love story. Bright colors splashed across a drab New York City wall, drawing attention from all around. Sarah, a 20-something street artist, breathed life into every stroke. Her hands, stained with paint, moved like magic, transforming the gray concrete into a tapestry of hope. With each mural, she poured her dreams and struggles down, reflecting the vibrant spirit of her impoverished neighborhood. But between the laughter of children playing and the distant wail of sirens, she battled the suffocating realities of economic inequality, dreaming of an escape. One sunny morning, while Sarah was lost in the rhythm of painting a fresh mural, her world collided with someone else's. James, a billionaire known for his ruthless bets and cold decisions. He strolled the streets, nursing a reckless mood after losing big at a high-stakes game. On a whim, he decided that the first person he encountered would be part of his next challenge, to change their life completely. Little did he know, he crossed paths with Sarah, a spirited dreamer whose heart glowed brighter than the colors around her. At first, James saw Sarah as a project, a pawn in his game, but as he watched her work, something shifted. The way her eyes lit up when she spoke of her art, the passion that pushed her forward, chipped away at the walls he had built. They walked the chaotic streets, a cacophony of laughter, food carts, and car horns, but underneath it all, they faced judgments and divides that cut deep. Their initial interaction was a mere bet, but emotions began to rise high, especially when a public art competition announced a chance at fame and fortune. As they painted together, vibrant colors representing their hopes intertwined, so did the complexities of the relationship. James faced shady business deals and media scrutiny, yet despite his setbacks, he found himself softening in ways he had never anticipated. Meanwhile, Sarah wrestled with her dreams, questioning if love could bloom between them amidst manipulation and deceit. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the competition loomed closer, a secret from Sarah's past threatened to uproot their fragile bond, casting shadows on James's intentions. She stood at a crossroads. Should she risk everything for this new love, or guard her heart against betrayal? The tension between them thickened like storm clouds, and New York thrummed with urgency, the stakes soaring higher than mere currency. In those final moments of chaos, as a challenge was posited leading to their public reveal, the crowd gasped. What now? The air crackled with unresolved tension, and all eyes were fixated on them. Could love conquer all, even in the harsh light of truth? As they faced each other, hearts pounding, they were caught in a whirlwind that promised either redemption or heartbreak. The murmurs of the crowd echoed in Sarah's ears, each voice blending into a heavy weight that threatened to crush her. She stood frozen, paintbrush in hand, her heart racing faster than the trains beneath their feet. There was a split second of clarity as she looked into James's eyes, trying to decipher the layers of emotion swirling within him. Are we really doing this? She whispered, though the question was meant for herself more than him. I've never wanted anything more, he replied, his voice steady yet burdened with unspoken fears. James felt the weight of many choices pressing on him, a life of privilege built on deals and sleights of hand, and now, standing here, choosing to embrace something he didn't know he could feel. His gaze softened as he struggled to shield her from the consequences of a world that had always been cruel. But what if the world was right this time? With a deep breath, Sarah dropped her brush. It fell to the ground with a dull thud, a sound that resonated like a thunderclap in her mind. She craved the freedom to be herself but feared that doing so would expose her to judgment. Her own past unfolded in front of her, a hidden chapter she had fought so hard to overcome. The lack of a safety net loomed like a dark cloud, smothering the hope fluttering within her chest. Listen, she began, her voice trembling, you think you understand the streets, but you don't. This isn't just a game for me. This is my life. The crowd seemed to hold its breath, the tension palpable. In that moment, Sarah felt the power of her honesty surge through her. It wasn't just about the art competition anymore. It was about her truth, woven through every brushstroke she had ever created. She remembered the late nights dreaming on the sidewalk, the occasions when she painted for warmth, the moments when she felt seen and heard by others with her art, and she realized she didn't want to trade that for just any kind of love. James shifted on his feet, concern washing over his expression. And I don't want to exploit you, Sarah. But we're in this together now. You have to trust me. For the first time, she saw him as more than just the businessman who could pull strings. The way he was looking at her open and vulnerable made her heart tremble. But then, a figure emerged from the crowd. It was her brother, Adrian, his face etched with anger. Sarah. This isn't what you think. Don't trust him. He pointed at James, his voice filled with urgency. Sarah's heart sank. Adrian had always looked out for her, but what did he truly know about her and James? The crowd began to murmur again, eyes swinging from Sarah to James, then to Adrian. The air was thick with confusion and emotions like a canvas of unresolved colors. Adrian, please. Sarah confronted her brother, fear in her voice. You don't know him. But doubt seeped into her own thoughts as she spoke. Could she trust James? Was this love genuine, or just another bet in his relentless game? As the competition's deadline drew closer, the walls around Sarah began to crack under the pressure. She could feel judgment pooling from all directions. The truth was that she had to choose not just between the two men in front of her but between the dreams she had held tightly for so long or stepping into the unknown with James. In that moment of heart-pounding silence, everything hung in the balance. Could love endure amidst lies and shadows? And as Sarah stood at the edge of truth, both her past and future loomed before her, demanding an answer. Would she leap into the uncertainty of love or retreat back into the comfort of her fears? With all eyes on her, the choice lay heavy, the truth burned bright, waiting to be revealed. Sarah felt the world spin around her, an exhilarating chaos, each heartbeat a drum echoing in her veins. Her pulse matched the frantic energy of the crowd, and in that moment, she realized that her choice wasn't about James or Adrian. It was about herself, about the woman she wanted to become. Adrian, she said, her voice a trembling thread woven through the noise, you've always fought for me. But I need to fight for myself now. The conviction behind her words surprised even her. Sarah, don't. Adrian's plea was desperate, his brow furrowed in concern. Don't do this, Sarah. The crowd's murmur swirled again, each whisper a reminder of expectations and judgments. James stepped forward, his eyes locked onto hers, a flicker of hope igniting between them. You are strong, Sarah. You've already proven that. Embrace your truth. She took a deep breath, the scent of paint mixing with the bittersweet aroma of apprehension filling her lungs. This was a moment that would change everything. Maybe I'm not ready for romance, James, maybe I don't even know what that looks like, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. But there was truth in her vulnerability, courage shining through her doubts. James nodded, as if understanding the weight of her admission. I don't want you to be someone else's idea of love. I want you to be you. Sarah felt her resolve hardening into something fiercely beautiful. Then help me be myself, not a trophy or a gamble. The crowd silently observed, hearts collectively holding the breath of anticipation, teetering on the edge of revelation. Adrian's face shifted from anger to something softer, a mixture of confusion and hurt. You don't know him like I do. His world isn't kind, Sarah. His world doesn't define mine. She cried out, and the intensity of her words hung heavy in the air. Then it's not just about you anymore, Adrian pleaded. What about the life we've built together? You can't just throw that away. Tears pricked at her eyes. I'm not throwing it away. I'm building something new. With each passing moment, time blurred as Sarah faced the crowd, a surge of energy pulsing through her. Wasn't this what she had been searching for? The chance to break free from others' expectations, to claim her narrative. Sarah. A voice rang out. It was Mia, a friend from the neighborhood. You can't let them control your story. The crowd shifted, a mixture of encouragement and skepticism swirling, but one truth shone through: Sarah was more than just a product of her upbringing. Art is vulnerability, she reminded herself, the faint echo of her past lifting her spirit. And I am an artist. With a determined step, she faced James again. If we're going to do this, we do it on my terms. I need to paint, and for once, I want to paint my own future, not just my past. Adrian opened his mouth to argue, but Sarah's heart was set. She could feel her instincts surge. The fear was there, but so was an undeniable flame of courage fueled by her desire to embrace her true self. James extended his hand, a silent offer of support. I'm in this with you. For real this time. The collective breath of the crowd deepened, something profound brewing in the air. All right, she said, her voice a steady flame now, igniting a path forward. Let us show them what this means. As she reached for James's hand, she could feel the weight of the crowd shift, a communal spark of understanding tracing through them. They didn't just witness a crossroads, they were part of a story evolving right before their eyes. What would this journey with James look like? How would she balance the heart of the artist with the tumult of love? In that moment, as the crowd erupted into a chorus of whispers, Sarah knew one thing for certain: the brush was in her hands, and she was ready to paint outside the lines. But as she stepped into the unknown, she couldn't shake the feeling that shadowy doubts lurked just beyond the light. What if her past wrapped around her like an unwelcome vine? Would she find the strength to break free, or would it pull her under once more? The lights of the gallery flickered, momentarily casting long shadows across the canvas-clad walls. Sarah stood, hand in hand with James, feeling the temperature of the crowd shift. They were no longer just spectators, they were witnesses to a revelation. Do you feel that? James whispered, his eyes bright with an unquenchable fire. They're rooting for you, for us. This is bigger than just what's happening now. Sarah couldn't help but smile, but her insides twisted with uncertainty. She looked at her artwork around her, a collection of pieces steeped in color, pain, and passion. Each brush stroke told a story she was only beginning to share. But what if the reception didn't match her hopes? What if Adrian's warnings echoed in her head, drowning out the melody of liberation she longed to embrace? Let us walk through, she said, taking a deep breath and stepping away from the warmth of his hand for just a moment. She was stepping into a whirlwind, but this time she had her feet planted firmly on the ground. As they strolled among the clusters of people, she felt the probing eyes of critics, friends, and strangers alike. Each looked at her art, waiting to dissect and determine its worth. With each painting she passed, she slid into a memory: the laughter with her childhood friends, the warmth of summer days spent splattering paint, the heartache that brought the colors to life. Sarah! Another voice shouted, this time cutting through the noise like a hot knife through butter. Emily, another friend from those early days, moved through the crowd, palms clammy with excitement. You did all of this? It's incredible. The warmth that Emily exuded wrapped around her tightly, and Sarah felt herself glowing. You really think so? She asked, but it was timid, as if fearing the verdict day was bound to reveal. Absolutely. Each piece has a story. Just like you. She nodded, the doubt softening in her mind for just a moment. Yes, she was the artist, the creator. But positioned beside Adrian once again, that little voice of reluctance returned, echoing his doubts about her choices, about James's world. Listen, James interrupted her thoughts, appearing by her side, his presence steadying. Tell me about your favorite piece. Let us share it. With hesitant steps, she maneuvered over to a large canvas splashed with vibrant blues and greens, a fierce depiction of a roaring ocean. It matched the tempest within her. This one, she began, her voice gaining strength. It depicts the struggles of finding peace amidst chaos. I painted it during a tough time and it sort of became my mantra. The crowd grew instinctively closer, drawn to the energy. Sarah felt weightlessness, the fear and uncertainty slipping away as she spoke. Some days, it feels like there's a storm raging inside of us, doesn't it? We crave calm but are bombarded by waves. But a deep breath. But we grow stronger, right? We learn to navigate ourselves. That's what this is about. For me, for anyone trying to find their way. The crowd murmured in acknowledgement. She saw nods, small smiles of understanding breaking through the fear of her own vulnerability. Exactly. James chimed in, his enthusiasm matching hers. The ocean is always changing, just like the path we each take. We have to ride the waves instead of hiding from the storms. They were flowing together in this moment, a dance of creativity and shared dreams. But then, Adrian's voice cut through the joy, heavier now, merging anxiety with hesitance. How can you trust him, Sarah? He's a part of that world you're trying to escape. What happens when it gets hard? The murmur of the crowd hesitated, sensing the tension rise. Sarah felt the pulse of doubt again, a dangerous undercurrent tugging at her. What if she fell again? What if this journey unraveled the very essence of who she fought so hard to be? James, she began, the question lingering in the air. Can you promise me something? His expression shifted instantly, worry and warmth colliding. Absolutely. What if I falter? Will you still be there? Or will I become just another gamble to your world? The crowd fell silent, the weight of her concern landing hard. The room held its breath, waiting for the answer that could shift everything. James met her gaze, and in it, she saw the truth she craved, an unshakable bond, but also the risk that loomed ahead. In that silence, the world swirled around them, new connections, old fears, but her heart beat with a question that demanded to be answered. Would love survive amid the chaos, or would they both be lost in the tide? The silence stretched for what felt like hours, a vast void filled with Sarah's unvoiced fears. James's brow furrowed, the intensity of his stare unwavering. Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat an echo of doubt. Everyone in the gallery waited, breaths held a moment thick with anticipation. Finally, he spoke, voice steady, yet overflowing with emotion. Sarah, you're not just another gamble to me. You're everything. His words hung in the air, igniting a warmth that spread through her. It was the assurance she craved. In that heartbeat, a spark of possibility rushed through her veins. But then she wondered, could love weather the storms they were bound to face? Look, he continued, taking a step closer, a firm solidity in his presence. The truth is, life will throw challenges at us. But I believe in us. I believe in you. Tears brimmed in her eyes as she absorbed his authenticity, the affection spilling from every word. It was not merely a promise, it was a lifeline, entwining their fates even further. Her fears began to dissipate, swept away by the tide of his conviction. As her thoughts settled into a peaceful rhythm, applause erupted around them. It was the crowd, moved by the exchange, responding to the visceral connection unfolding between the two of them. Cheers mingled with laughter, a chorus celebrating their bravery and intimacy. Sarah. Emily cheered, her enthusiasm contagious. See. This is what your art does. It connects people. The crowd joined in more fervently now, lifting the heaviness that lingered just moments before. Sarah's chest swelled. Each echo of affirmation poured confidence into her. She turned to James, the electric thrill of the moment coursing through them both. You're right, she said, her voice stronger than before. Every piece of art resonates with those ready to listen. In that flicker of newfound clarity, she realized art wasn't merely a canvas, it was a bridge, connecting emotions and experiences shared by countless hearts. They were all bound by their stories, navigating their own storms. And here, In this chaotic, vibrant room, they were united. But just as she started to bask in her realization, Adrian moved through the crowd, his expression inscrutable. "And what, Sarah? You think passion alone will protect you? Your art, your love, they're not enough when the real world starts pushing back." His voice was calm, yet darkness flickered behind his eyes. The crowd stiffened like a tightly coiled spring, their energy shifting again. Sarah met Adrian's gaze, and for a brief moment, the world narrowed down to them, their past, her fears, the pain lingering just beneath the surface. "Adrian," she said, voice trembling but resolute. "I won't let fear dictate my life anymore. I'm done being the girl trapped by your definition of me." A murmur of approval hummed through the gallery, encouragement building as she took another step forward, heart racing, driven by a new sense of purpose. "Let the world push," she declared, raising her chin defiantly. "I'm finally ready to ride the waves with James by my side." The crowd erupted in applause, the support washing over her like a wave of euphoria. She felt expansive, filled with the promise of love and courage. Yet, as the applause began to dwindle, something flickered in her gut, a mix of excitement and trepidation. Could she truly break free from her past? She glanced back at James. "Are you ready?" His smile lit up the dim room, hope glimmering in his eyes. "More than ever." But just as they were about to step into that bright new future, Adrian's voice cut through again, lingering like a shadow. "Wait until you see what the real test looks like." Suddenly, Sarah felt a chill, her heart thudding with a dread she couldn't shake. What challenge awaited them now, and would their newfound strength be enough to face whatever lay ahead? Sarah's heart raced as Adrian's words hung in the air, swirling around her like a storm. The laughter and applause faded into a distant hum, replaced by the thunder of her anxiety. She shared a glance with James, the warmth in his eyes clashing with the icy grip Adrian's words had on her. "Let us not entertain this, Adrian," James said, his voice a shield of bravery. "This isn't your moment to ruin." But Adrian, unfazed, stepped forward, drawing the crowd's focus like a moth to a flame. "Oh, my apologies. I just thought it was best to prepare them for what is to come." His smirk was tainted with a cruel edge, and the air thickened, everyone sensing the shift. "James," Sarah whispered, her hands trembling slightly. "What does he mean? Don't let him get to you. He is trying to intimidate us, to shake your confidence." James moved closer, closing the gap between them, casting a shadow over her doubts. "Intimidate?" Adrian chuckled, dark eyes glinting. "No, dear Sarah, I simply want to enlighten you. You'd be surprised how fragile dreams can be." She felt the crowd's energy swell again, a collective tension rising as they fed off the confrontation. The room was alive, yet the weight of Adrian's words pressed down like a heavy fog. "Have you forgotten the bets?" Adrian continued, piercing through the crowd's cheers. "You think this is just some whimsical narrative between you and James? There's more at stake here than you know. The odds are stacked against you. I won't let you use my life as a pawn in your game." She surprised herself with her boldness, but the unyielding weight of Adrian's gaze made her heart flutter with apprehension. "Feel free to stick your head in the sand," he replied, voice dripping with condescension. "Just know you're not getting out of this unscathed. Reality has a way of knocking down illusions." The tension escalated. Emily stepped forward, crossing her arms defiantly. "Why don't you just leave, Adrian? You're not welcome here." And yet, despite every word spoken, Sarah felt a chill serpent its way around her heart. She knew Adrian wasn't just a nuisance, he was a harbinger of the difficult truth lurking just past the veil of hope. "Just remember," he warned, his smile now a thin line, "this happy ending you envision. It's a fairy tale. A hurricane is coming, and you might not survive." A pulse of fear rippled through her. She turned to James, his grip firm on her arm, grounding her. "Adrian doesn't define your story, Sarah. You do. Let us focus on what we can build together." Together, she echoed, the word igniting a flicker of resolve within her, but the storm inside her raged on. Could she truly ignore the darkness creeping towards them? Let us show him, James urged softly, pulling Sarah closer. Let us show him what we're made of. With his encouragement, she nodded, but an unsettling thought still nagged at her. What if he was right? What if the challenges ahead were too great, too overwhelming? What if love alone wasn't enough? The crowd was watching, their eyes full of anticipation. Whatever came next, they were all witnesses to this moment. Slowly, Sarah turned back to Adrian, determined not to let fear define her once again. I refuse to back down. I choose to face whatever comes. As their eyes locked, the gallery buzzed with a mix of hope and dread, anticipation humming in the stillness left behind. Very well, Adrian replied, his smirk returning. Then let the real game begin. A shiver crawled up Sarah's spine, a haunting question lingering. Was she prepared for the challenge ahead, or was this just the beginning of a battle that could shatter everything she'd fought for? The air cracked with anticipation as Adrian surveyed the crowd, his expression a mix of amusement and malice. Sarah could feel the weight of each gaze, like 1,000 whispers digging into her skin. In that moment, she steeled herself, drawing on the warmth of James beside her. Remember, it's not about him. It's about us, she thought, trying to drown out the echoes of doubt. Adrian stepped closer, almost taunting. Do you think they'll stand by you when the tables turn? When the bets start to matter? His laughter rang hollow, cutting through the muffled excitement of the crowd. James took a step forward, fists clenched at his sides. We're not backing down, Adrian. You have no power over us. Power? Is that what you think this is about? Adrian leaned back, arms crossed, an eerie twinkle in his eye. This is about survival, my friend. And things that go bump in the night, he added, glancing at Sarah, can be far more threatening than you care to admit. Suddenly, Sarah felt a pang of fear fuse with her determination. I want to let this happen, she whispered to herself. But as Adrian's words echoed, she couldn't shake the doubt. Were there truths he had yet to reveal? The audience had pinned their hopes and fears onto her like stars on a dark canvas. Everyone wanted a show, a resolution, a story that would break through the clouds. What if they think I can't handle this? She wondered, battling against the voice in her heart that began to sway with Adrian's dark charm. Isn't that right, everyone? Adrian raised his voice, drawing in the room's energy. He was molding this moment, twisting it to invite their complicity. Will she sink or swim? Will love win the day, or will the odds crush them both? Voices murmured, uncertainty rippling through the audience. Sarah's heart sank. She could see some faces shifting, anxiety spreading like wildfire. And that insecurity blossomed viciously within her chest. No, she thought, resolutely shaking her head. She faced Adrian once more, grounding herself in the reality of the moment. You may think you can control this narrative, but you can't. And yet, here you are, caught in my web, he taunted, smile unwavering. Emily's spirit surged again behind Sarah, her fierce loyalty a balm against Adrian's influence. Don't listen to him. We believe in you, Sarah. You have a community that stands with you. The crowd responded, nodding collectively, shifting their weight, confronting Adrian's darkness with a beacon of support. Sarah felt a rush of gratitude and warmth. It was their strength that began to dent the shadows looming over her. Even so, doubts clouded her mind. Could a community really shield her from the storm that Adrian had conjured? As if sensing her fragility, Adrian laughed derisively. You think that love and courage will save you? How quaint. He took a step back, gesturing dramatically. But I assure you, the world is not nearly as kind as your adoring fans will lead you to believe. A sudden thought struck Sarah. Maybe the world isn't kind, but it can be fair. We create our own destiny. James. She turned, needing his reassurance. Do you really believe that? I do, he said earnestly, gripping her hands. We'll figure this out together, no matter the odds. The crowd leaned in, charged with an electricity that surged through Sarah. As she raised her chin, something deep inside ignited. Defiance spread like wildfire, rekindled by James' unwavering belief. Adrian, she called out, voice steady as she met his gaze, if love is a fairy tale, then I'll rewrite it. Together. Adrian scoffed, but there was the faintest tremor behind his bravado. We shall see, dear Sarah. We shall see. With those words, a silent battle line was drawn. But as they loomed over her, she couldn't shake the fear that Adrian knew something that could tip the scales of their hope into despair. In that moment, amidst the swirling chaos of doubt and determination, she braced herself for what lay ahead. Would her story end in triumph, or would the tempest Adrian warned of wreck everything she cherished? The question clenched. Tight in her chest, a storm building once more, waiting to unleash its fury. What was Adrian's secret? And in the end, would Sarah's heart truly be enough to weather this tempest? The room buzzed with tension, whispers bouncing off the walls like errant sparks. Adrian's confidence was a suffocating blanket, tightening around Sarah's throat. She could see the flicker of doubt in some faces, but for every hesitant gaze, there were 5 that burned with belief. Listen, Adrian's voice cut through the atmosphere again, you really think they'll support you when the chips are down? Love? Community? Those words fall flat when faced with harsh reality. Sarah felt a chill, a fleeting moment where his words seeped into her resolve. It was like stepping on thin ice, fragile and unpredictable. But she remembered James, right there beside her, a pillar against Adrian's chaos. It's not about what the world throws at us. It's about how we respond, she declared, her own voice breaking through the chill. It rang with clarity, driven by every moment spent with James, every laugh shared, every tear wiped away. Adrian leaned in, a smirk playing on his lips. So noble. But tell me, how will you respond when I unveil the truth? What truth? Sarah shot back, her heart quickening. What do you think you have on me? With that, Adrian paused, his smug expression faltering for a heartbeat. Sarah caught the moment, a crack in his armor. He was stalling, trying to gain the upper hand, and it stirred something fierce within her. But even as she felt infused with strength, unease crept back in. She could sense something looming in the shadows, like darkness waiting to pounce. Is it fear, Adrian? Or is it weakness? She challenged, feeling the crowd shift. They were leaning her way, the tide turning against him. Trust is flimsy, Sarah. He shrugged, dismissively. And when the truth hits, trust will be dust. Your community will fray, and you, he pointed directly at her, you will be alone. The words made her skin prick. Alone. That was the nightmare she had fought to avoid. But in the instant it collided with her heart, she felt another surge. Memories flooded in, her friends cheering, the laughter during late-night talks, the hand-holding during storms. No, Adrian. She took a step forward, grounding her fear with conviction. You underestimate what we've built, what I've built. It's more than romanticized dreams. It's real. It's strong. Emily's voice broke through the crowd, fiery and unwavering, we're not leaving her side. She's one of us. A thunder of agreement rose, voices blending into a chorus of unity. Sarah's heart leaped, verbal lines were drawn. She was not alone. Not today. But Adrian, relentless, laughed again. So sweet, isn't it? This little revolt. But I assure you, love doesn't pay the bills, darling. And it doesn't protect you from reality. The air at that moment crackled with a potent mix of defiance and uncertainty. Sarah's stomach churned, part of her whispering that perhaps Adrian was right. What if the world turned on her? Yet another voice emerged, cutting through the nagging doubt. If love's the cost, James said, squeezing her hand tighter, then I'll pay it every time. A soft wave of warmth revived Sarah's spirit. He believed in her, and somehow, that made her belief stronger. "Adrian," she began, her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. "What do you know that we don't? What do you think can scare us apart?" Laughter from the crowd muted, replaced by a charged silence, as Adrian's smirk reformed into something darker, a shadow lurking just beneath the surface. "Oh, you'll find out soon enough. Just know, when the storm hits this time it'll be a flood." Each word dripped with menace, but beneath that, Sarah heard a flicker of something else, hesitation. Perhaps Adrian wasn't as infallible as he presented himself to be. In that tense moment, Sarah knew one thing: the game was on, and she was refusing to crumble. She straightened, drawing from the love surrounding her. "Bring it on," she whispered, steady and fierce. As she turned to her community, a tapestry of hope woven tightly with belief, a silence fell upon the crowd, time slowing. Sarah felt the weight of their trust, their faith pushing back against Adrian's looming threat, forging an armor she hoped could withstand whatever secret he held. But as she met Adrian's eyes once more, unease swirled in her chest. What dark truth had he tucked away, and would it be enough to unravel everything she loved? The tension felt like a spun thread, ready to snap. What was lurking in the shadows, waiting to break free? The silence in the room stretched thin. Sarah's breath caught in her throat, her heart thudding so loud she was sure the crowd could hear it. Adrian's gaze bore into her, eyes gleaming with a mixture of smug certainty and something darker. "Do you really think you're ready for this?" he asked, his voice a low rumble. "You believe your love can withstand the truth? The reality of who you really are?" The crowd shifted, some faces showing doubt, others a fierce determination. Sarah glanced at James, whose expression remained resolute, a calm within her storm. His unwavering faith anchored her. Their connection seemed to pulse, a pulse that thrummed with defiance against Adrian's words. "What do you mean?" Emily stepped forward, her voice laced with challenges. "She isn't alone. We're here." "Ah, but that's where you're wrong," Adrian replied smoothly, savoring the turmoil. "Sarah thrives on this beautiful fantasy she created. But everyone has a skeleton in their closet, even the best of us." Adrian's words were like ice cubes dropped into boiling water, sending ripples of nervous energy through the group. Sarah felt a wave of anxiety wash over her. What could he possibly know? What dark revelation could tear apart the foundation of their beliefs? "Trust me, love unravels when faced with the truth," he continued, voice dripping with mockery. "Let us peel away the facade, shall we? Let us expose her secrets." Biting back panic, Sarah took a steadying breath. "You think you know me, Adrian? You don't know my journey. You don't understand what it means to fight for what you love." "Maybe not," Adrian shot back, "but I know what it looks like when everything falls apart. How it feels to be abandoned when the storm hits." The memories he conjured pricked at her childhood, whispers of betrayal and feelings of neglect swept through her mind like fog. She fought to suppress the rising tide of fear. Adrian was trying to exploit her vulnerabilities, to twist her past into a weapon. "No." James's voice rang out, firm and unwavering. "You will not get to her." But Adrian's gleam of mischief smile told her he was just getting started. "You're right, James." Sarah won tea crumble easily. But what about her past? The mistakes, the regrets, the weaknesses. A hush fell again, heavier this time. It was more than just her past he was threatening to expose, it was the heart she had built, each pulse tied to those around her. Adrian was playing a dangerous game, one that she could not afford to lose. "Who are you to judge me?" she shouted, forcing strength into her voice. "I've worn my scars like badges, and I'm proud of who I've become. I refuse to hide." "Is that so?" Adrian leaned closer, the crowd breathing with him, caught in his scheme. "Then let us see how brave you are when you find out how fractured the very core of your being can be." The room tensed, hearts racing in tandem with the fray of emotions. What did he know? The air was thick with anticipation, each whisper turned to silence as they waited on the edge of revelation. Adrian. Just say it. Emily yelled, unable to bear the suspense. All right. Remember the years you spent running away from the truth? The past you tried to erase? Adrian drawled, stretching the moment taut. What if I told you it's all coming back to haunt you? That someone you thought was gone is closer than you think. The crowd gasped collectively, confusion and worry washing over the group. Sarah felt her breath hitch, their murmurs circling around, igniting that deep-seated fear inside her. Adrian turned slightly to gauge Sarah's reaction, knowing the weight of his words. What if they hold the key to your true downfall? Silence blanketed the room, every eye fixed on Sarah. She felt exposed, a fragile piece of glass, yet deep within her stirred an indomitable spirit. Who? She breathed, the question piercing through the heavy air. Ah, Adrian chuckled, savoring the moment. You'll find out soon enough. But when it hits you. Sarah's heart raced. She wouldn't let him invoke fear. She couldn't she had to stand tall. The promise of love bloomed with James by her side, but could it withstand the truth? As she struggled to maintain her composure, the growing tension enveloped her. What secret awaited her in the shadows of her past, one that could unravel everything she held dear? Sarah stood at the precipice of fear and determination, her heart a whirlwind of confusion and hope. Adrian's taunts hung in the air, heavy and pungent, and she could almost feel the collective anxiety from the crowd pressing down on her shoulders. But as she looked to James, she found a flicker of strength in his unwavering gaze, a warmth radiating from him that reassured her she wasn't alone. Enough. She called out, her voice commanding despite the cracks of uncertainty beneath. I refuse to play your game, Adrian. My past may be a part of me, but it does not define my future. The audience shifted, anticipation charged with excitement and trepidation. Adrian's smirk faltered, and in that fraction of a moment, she seized her opportunity. I've fought too hard to allow you to dredge up my fears. I've climbed out of darkness, and I'm here to embrace the light no matter how fierce the storm. That's adorable, Sarah, Adrian sneered, but the sharpness had dulled. But the storm is not from the outside. It's been brewing inside you all along. Around her, whispers buzzed like angry bees, the audience reflecting the turmoil in her heart. But Sarah felt a surge of defiance bubble within her. I'm stronger than my mistakes. My art is rooted in my truth, not in the shadows of my past. What matters is who I choose to be today. She turned to James, searching for confirmation. Together, we can face whatever comes. We will turn our truth into strength. In his eyes, she saw validation, she drew strength from the warmth of his presence. Together, he echoed softly, and it felt like a battle cry, wrapping around them like a lifeline. Adrian's expression darkened, frustration bubbling just beneath the surface. So you think strength will save you, huh? You've built a lovely facade, but it won't shield you from what is coming. You're wrong, Sarah snapped back, venom spilling from her words. Walls don't protect us, love does. And I choose love. With each moment, clarity broke through the fog of confusion. She had painted walls in her mind, convinced they kept her safe. But now, she realized they only imprisoned her. Bring on the storm, Adrian. Sarah shouted, steadying herself. Let it come. I stand here not just for myself, but for my friends, my art, and for the love I have found. The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices rising like a wave against any doubts that lingered. Adrian stepped back, his facade crumbling just a bit. You'll regret this, he said, but her conviction set the waves of doubt crashing against his citadel. I'll expose you for who you really are. But before he could finish his taunt, a familiar figure emerged through the crowd. It was her brother, Adrian, the one person she had thought might bring chaos. His face was turned pale, confusion and regret washing over him. "Sarah! Stop!" he cried, carving through the tension like a knife. Adrian's right about the storm. He took a deep breath, stepping forward with an earnestness that pulled at Sarah's heartstrings. "You shouldn't confront him without knowing the complete truth." Her pulse quickened. What truth? Could the storm be brewing from a source she hadn't anticipated? "I should have told you sooner," he continued, his voice wavering. "The reason we lost everything, the reason we struggled so much, it connects to Adrian in ways you don't understand." Sarah's stomach twisted, a storm within her matching Adrian's outward laughter. There was so much she hadn't understood. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice breaking beneath the weight of fear. Adrian smirked, holding the crowd in his grasp like a guilty secret. "Go on, tell her, brother. You owe it to the world to expose the truth." But instead of crumbling, Sarah pushed back. "If we're going to face the truth together," she said firmly, "then let us do it now." Her brother opened his mouth, then faltered. The room was tense again, watching the collision of hearts and secrets. Maybe it wasn't just her past all along, maybe it was the truths they shared, the burdens carried together. Finally, Adrian spoke. "You both need to confront your history and face the choices that drove you to hide." Sarah took a breath, her legs steady as she faced her brother. "We've all made choices. I don't fear them anymore. I embrace them." With newfound courage, she rallied the room. "What matters is that we rise from the ashes of what we've known and create a future we can control." The crowd pulsated with energy, an eruption of support drowning out Adrian's mockery. "Yes!" Emily shouted, fists pumping in the air. "We believe in you. We're here for you." With the encouragement building, the doubts wrapped tightly around Sarah's heart began to loosen. Together, they formed a collective strength bound by shared struggles, a community prepared to ride the waves, regardless of what storms awaited. As she locked eyes with Adrian, she realized she held the key to her own narrative. "Love can weather any storm, even the one inside me," she stated defiantly. Adrian's eyes narrowed with fury. "Keep your glass half full, dear sister. You have no idea what's waiting for you. When the world clubs you with reality, I'll be standing right here." But she refused to falter. The love binding her tightly to James, her friends, and those who supported her blazed bright against the darkness he projected. When the time of reckoning came, she would stand tall, facing the truth with her head held high. Let the storm come. She was ready to paint her future, dancing in vibrant colors, unafraid of the chaos that surrounded her. It was a journey that wouldn't just be defined by trials, but rather the triumph of finding herself. With a collective breath, they faced the uncertain horizon, empowered to embrace whatever lay ahead. "Let us begin anew," she declared, her heart afire, ready to paint an unbreakable future. In that moment, the light within her shone brighter than any shadow that dared to intrude. Together, they could conquer anything together, they would be unstoppable. And that was a truth worth fighting for. Now, as you've journeyed with us through triumph and love, it's time to make a choice for the moments to come. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show that your support matters. Comment below about your reactions and feelings on this ending. It's your voice that drives the excitement. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans know the power of community and connection.